How is everyone doing today? Hopefully you guys had a good day slash afternoon, depending where you are, or morning if you're in Australia. Hello, GM, or GEG. We are going to take a look together at the market. Any questions, as always, feel free to put in the chat. I reckon we'll get started. It's a bit last minute, so not too many people might be able to attend live, but we're recording, so let's start. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending where you are. There's a couple more people trickling in. Thank you for joining live, guys, as always. If you are watching the recording, make sure that you drop a comment down below. And if you're live with me today, thank you. And thank you for tuning in with such short notice. It's a bit of a makeup the other day. Couldn't really do a live. I was in hospital, so yeah, couldn't really do much. But other than that, we are here today, so life is good. And let's take a look at this market. First things first, as always, we like to look at the Bitcoin dominance. How many of you guys, and I know because I can see in the chat some familiar names. Good morning, Bomila. Good morning. Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. How many of you guys, how many of you remember we talked about this candle right here, this level right here, coming when we were about the 56%, 55%, we said we're likely going to go back into the mid 60s, and obviously liquidation event happened. We finally tapped that level, and this is actually quite a good reaction. So big week on the weekly, you can see this was last week, and then very small body. When you see these kind of moves, typically they indicate some sort of reversal, kind of similar to what it's happening here. Doesn't mean that the price cannot continue, of course, but we know that we already broken structure. So really the most important level for Bitcoin dominance will be down here into the 55s. Once we start seeing breaking down below 55s, then yes, we can call it a mini alt run. Now, we are going to talk about macro today, so most of what I'm going to cover is going to be week and daily and even monthly if you like. So if you want to take a look at some live setups, we totally can. Just mind you that I'll be talking mostly macro. So this, for me, at the moment, is still hopefully a bearish Bitcoin dominance. Once we break that 55%, I will be happily calling it a bearish breakout. So for now, though, we're just keeping on watch. And yeah, it's been weeks. We finally tapped that level. Good morning, Cappy. A couple of legends coming in, trickling in. Awesome to see. So Bitcoin dominance for now, guys. Just sit tight and wait. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. I'm on a weekly. Okay, so weekly chart right here. What we're going to do is we're going to simply mark up some nice structure. Nice and easy. Nothing hard. Low, high, low, high, low, high. And now, guess what happened? We are officially about to, I think, depending on the weekend, potentially break structure on a weekly. Okay, and I'll show you right here. This is the structure. If we close below this line, which at the moment there's 2 days left in this weekly candle, looks like we might, but we could just simply weekend reverse. So the next 2 days, we really need to pay attention at this structure. So this is the low that we basically cannot afford to close under. 3 days, it's looking pretty bearish. Okay, similar thing. So this was obviously high, low. This was just a retest, high, high, and now low. Similar. So the same level, okay, we don't want to close below. Obviously, the 3 days has got 1 day left at the moment, so we'll close about tomorrow this time. For now, we're just seeing this kind of wicks and bounces, which is a good sign. It was to be expected. If you remember on the day of the liquidation, I said this week will likely get filled at least 50%. And obviously it's getting filled a lot more like 80-90%. Now it's just a matter of understanding what the price action is going to be. So it's too soon to take any trades, any position. I strongly recommend you stay out of leverage for these reasons. Basically, in terms of macro, if we break and if we close below this level, then I'm officially bearish, meaning we will likely see some lower high and lower lows. Okay, and if you do remember a while back on Bitcoin, we talked about this level. Actually, I got a better chart. I've got this chart right here. We were looking because this is a live trade. So if you remember, we talked about that candle, which obviously got tapped, fair value gap, and the second level that I'm interested in is down here. Okay, so 79. Will we get down there? I think we will. When? Not sure, but definitely my two levels when it comes to actually Bitcoin is going to be this level for potential reversal and this level which we just tapped here. Okay, so we just tapped the first level. We've seen some sort of price action reversal, but I'm not discounting a lower high and then potentially another lower low into this area, and then from there would likely kind of go lower. And this nice order block, there's a lot of price action happening there. This is on a weekly again, so lots of money, but I don't think we'll see a $60,000, $70,000 Bitcoin anytime. Potentially the bottom of this cycle could be around the 70, 60, 70. So this will be obviously bear market territory down here before we proceed higher. Once again, I'm talking higher time frame. Okay, so this could be the next 12 months that we go down here. But you gotta put your trading hat on, and trading is all about probabilities and structure and no emotion. And once we start breaking structure, well, it just makes sense. Daily is looking like it's really trying to hold to this level with their life. This is a candle that I'm definitely still interested in the daily. I think we'll see this candle specifically. I'll highlight it for you right here. This candle possibly tapped and mitigate a little bit better. You can see we came into it just into the wick. You can see this candle right here. We tapped into it, and now we're kind of dancing around it. So I do think we potentially, during the weekend, we might sweep that low that we created with that wick and come into this candle right here. So if you want to try and put an alarm for some bids potentially, or I wouldn't blindly enter along. I would want to see price action and how it develops, because at the moment, if you look at this price action, yes, it's wicking a lot on the downside, but there's no break or structure. Everything is bearish still, right? Can you guys see it? So we're making lower low, lower highs, lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower lows, until we take out some sort of high and we enter on the retest. There's no real confirmation for me or for you guys to press any buy action at the moment. It's, yeah, want to see us break. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this kind of, and to be perfectly honest, Cappy, to be perfectly honest, this liquidity right here, this could be a trap as well. So I'm gonna say out loud, this liquidity right here kind of looks like it, kind of smells like it, bit of a trap. There's liquidity everywhere, so these are all liquidity pools, right? Liquidity, all equal highs. There's even liquidity up here. It's literally, there's liquidity in form of equal highs, resting orders everywhere. But before we enter this this kind of long, let me just drag it properly. Before we enter along, once we get up there, what I want to see, and I'll explain to you why, is I want to see that high taken out. I want to see a higher low, so lower low, higher low made. I want to see another higher high made. So I want to see first change of character, second break of structure confirmation, and then re-enter on the retest. So more often than not, were you happy with pointing on the first change of character? But when you are in such a uncertain current condition, market condition like we are currently, I strongly recommend don't take trades off of the first higher low, which is the first change of character. Wait for a second confirmation, being obviously first higher high, second higher low, third higher high, and then you wait for the retest of that, because that gives you much greater probability. Does it all make sense for you guys in the live right now? So low, high, low, yeah. Wait for the break, change of character, wait for a higher low to be made, and then wait for another confirmation in the forms of another higher high, and then enter on that retest. So patience here. Obviously we're looking at an hourly chart at the moment. I'll suspect this is probably gonna take the whole weekend to eventuate, and post a bit. I'll probably say it's around Sunday, Monday our time here in Australia. We'll see some sort of potential longs. But for now, it wouldn't surprise me if market is just gonna, do these ones for a little bit in the next few days. But you can see there's liquidity pools everywhere. So Bitcoin at the moment, which is obviously, I don't really care about the other fours, other threes I should say, but fours, whatever, because until we have a clear direction as to what BTC does, the market is kind of gonna really either follow or at least be indecisive at the moment. So BTC, just wait for this structure. We need to wait. This daily's got 2 hours left at the moment, this daily, and it looks like it will close below, and obviously a daily close below, it's not ideal, but if the 3 days and the weekly end up holding that level, well then I'm okay with it, because obviously the higher the time frame, the stronger the structure. So if it is a daily that breaks, yeah, not ideal, but let's see what the 3 days and the weekly. So I'm not calling anything just yet, but it sure is looking like we could potentially go lower. Okay, so just be ready. This is what I do. I'll show you guys how I do it, so you can do it too. I grab my little magnet. I go into the closing of the last bearish candle. I draw a line. I've got some pre-made here already structure, so I just have to do that, and then I put an alert, and in my alert it's once per bar close, and I go into message and I say close below equal we retrace lower, copy, paste, and now I've got an alert. When the candle closes below that, I know that even if I'm not in the chart, I get an alert on my trading view. Cool. Okay, we can now take a look at something else. Bitcoin, we need to wait, but Ethereum has been playing nice, I think, in some of the levels that we talked about it for so long. This was the first level we wanted to see it retest it, and it has, and it filled it beautifully. Now the second level that to me makes sense to retest is this right here. So this candle right here, which also makes sense at a fib perspective. You take it high to a low. We're sitting right about the 786, so somewhere in here, potential tap of the 786. To me it makes sense. So with ETH, obviously depends what BTC is doing, but something like this, I love to see an ETH 2000, mid twos again, before we go higher. It is getting a bit of attention and traction, which is good on the sidelines. Obviously, institutions and store of values and da-di-da-di-da. But in reality, we are now seeing a very different type of conversation. And I will, jump on a moment. I'm going from Bitcoin to Ethereum to gold. Tell me in the chat, does this look like normal price action to you? This is on a weekly. Does this look like normal price action to you? This is on a daily. Like, what are you doing, gold? Yeah. So there is gonna be some sort of it is like this could be a meme coin chart. You go on the 4 hour, it's just up only. The biggest pullbacks that you get are these little things, and even that, like every time basically pulls back, you can just long and you just make it's. People are flocking, and there's a bigger conversation here that needs to happen. Why is this chart going like this, and why silver is very much similar. So if you go silver, Spot, similar thing. Like the silver is also going absolutely bonkers. Not as crazy as gold, but yeah, it's all-time high after all-time high. If you bought silver back here in September last year, October last year, so 1 year ago, you'll be up to 2.5x. Crazy, but there is a reason why this is happening. You know, the de-evaluation of the dollar. So people are flocking away from the dollar at the moment, and they are obviously going to a safe haven, being digital, physical or digital. Obviously, if you're buying some ETFs and things like that, gold is a safe haven at the moment, and we can sit here and yeah, saw some videos of people lined up to buy gold on open today. Yeah, I mean, you know, this what you're saying right there, Cappy. So for those of you who are watching the recording, Cappy just put in the chat. You saw some videos of people lined up to buy gold on open today. That mentality, that herd mentality of buying things at an all-time high, yeah, that's when usually the top is in. People like to FOMO into things. So when something is at an all-time high, guess what they do? Everybody wants to buy. Do you remember last few cycle? For those of you who have been here in the Bitcoin last few cycle, when Bitcoin was at the all-time high, everyone on TV was telling you to buy, and then obviously the bear market happened. So when you start seeing people lining up outside, retailer to buy gold and things like that, yeah, usually it's a good time if you have any to take some profit and probably sell, sell at least cover your entries and whatever you pay for, because this chart is not normal. And look, to be perfectly honest, right, like if you literally just there's no structure, like this is not structured. This is on a daily. So the closest structural point is here. If I am going to do a 50% retracement, which indicates a very strong bullish presence still, we're looking at a 12% drop. If we're gonna go a little bit deeper into a 786 potentially, we're looking at a 20% drop. How do you feel like normal people, and I'd say normies, how do you feel like when they bought at 4,400 and then they see their investment going back to 3,500? They lose their mind. Not everyone is in trading. Not everyone is, especially in crypto trading, guys. For us, 20% is a weekend. But and even for us, we see Bitcoin dropping 15% and we just go nuts, right? So this is gonna be people, older generation, older people that love, their physical stuff. They'll be this will be max fear. And what I think will happen potentially is we even come back into some of this low sweep. Looking at a 25% drop, it would just totally make sense from a market perspective and a fear perspective. Like this is just waiting and begging to be taken out, in my opinion. We'll see. So I guess the reason why I'm talking about this is when we have people flocking away from the dollar and really, moving everything they have into gold. Well, we can sit here as much as we want and tell you that Bitcoin is a digital gold, but in reality, we are still very much a minority in the market. The crypto market cap is a testament to that. We've got some stocks that are bigger than the whole crypto market space. It's crazy, when you look at things like the comparison between gold and Bitcoin is something that we do necessarily. Actually, let's do this real quickly. Xiao USD versus BTC USD. So what I'm doing here, I am creating a chart of gold versus Bitcoin. Okay, because you can do that on TradingView. You just have to use the 3 tickers. And so this is the chart that's basically saying this is Bitcoin against gold. So we have gold, obviously. So we have gold versus Bitcoin. And you can see gold is really pushing these all-time highs in terms of, this local high, not all-time high, this local high. So, and it's rejecting. So from a chart perspective, on a 3 days, will make sense for gold to come back down. which means sell, right? So we hopefully see some of that value, which is why I'm showing you this. We hopefully see some of that value entering back into the crypto market space. I don't know how much it will be, but hopefully we capture a little bit of those $3 trillion that, you know, some of these markets have and move on a daily basis. Will we ever see something like this where Bitcoin was, you know, up there? We'll see. I don't think we probably in the next few years. I'm not saying no, because I do think that Bitcoin will likely capture a big portion of all this. Like this could just simply be, you know, a ginormous liquidity trend line if you look at it that way. Something like this. Just begging to be taken, and now we finally take the move, make the move up, and come back somewhere here. But for now, everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean the normies, are looking at gold as a safe haven. Chart is telling you that. People lining up outside of, you know, stores buy gold telling you that, which means we'll likely see a drop off. And like it or not, when we see a drop off with gold and physical assets, BTC also takes a plunge, generally speaking, right? It's not necessarily as correlated as it used to be. We used to be highly correlated, but we are still correlated very much with stocks. And when you're looking at some of the stocks, you know, S&P 500 and things like that, you're still seeing a very, very inflated bubble, similar to, not quite dissimilar to gold, but look at that, hey, weekly, just beautifully played into it. You can see, like, we are all-time high after all-time high, but we need to see some sort of price action like this. I think we'll see very shortly, in the coming weeks, potentially, if not few months, some sort of, you know, correction, 18 to 20% correction across all assets. So 20% correction on gold, we just looked at it, it just makes sense. You know, 15-20% correction on S&P 500s and assets, once again, makes sense. This is a 15% coming back into this weekly, this is a 20% coming back into this big push down. It just makes sense. So I'm preparing you guys, and I'm preparing myself as well for potential lower. I'm not buying any alts at the moment. If you are buying alts, congrats. Just do so at your own risk. Know that you may experience another, you know, you might experience your portfolio going down another 22%, 25%, 50%, depending, because alts obviously are going to struggle a lot more than BTC. But if Bitcoin does decide to go lower, you will be in drawdown. You know, you will be in drawdown. So if you're planning the long-term game, the 5-10 years, by all means, you know, play conviction. Strongly recommend looking into conviction plays such as Link, and, you know, don't do mid to small market cap, just do larger market caps in these conditions, please. But then it's your money the way you want. At the same time, I strongly recommend, yeah, just waiting for lower. If you think the top is not in, if you think the top is in, then, well, plan accordingly. You know, if you think, oh, Aussie is just, you know, just spitting this. I don't think this is the top. I think we're going to go back higher. Great. Just wait for lower. If you do think once we break, and if we break lower, that this may be the top, all we have to do is simply wait for the retest. So market goes down, market goes up, we sell. Market goes down, market goes up, we sell a little bit more. Does it make sense? It's basically the opposite. Okay. So everyone has got a different plan, and you need to be the master of your own portfolio. I was having a chat with one of my clients, and you need to be, I was explaining to them, you are the CEO of your own portfolio. Okay, so treat business treat trading like a business, and think of yourself as a CEO. You're the CEO, you're in charge, you make the calls. The calls means sometimes you just have to be patient. You know, things that take time to eventuate, and then you have to make a hard decision. Do I sell? Do I take some profit? Do I de-risk? Okay, do I let some of that profit go in the hope that, you know, I'm proven wrong? So being a CEO is not easy, but you're in charge of your own portfolio, and don't let anyone else tell you what to do. Just stick to your plan, stick to your guns, have a plan. You can't stick to a plan if you don't have a plan. The importance of having a plan is so underrated in this space. You need to have a plan, because otherwise, what are you sticking to? Just you winging it every time? That's stressful, man. Shouldn't be winging it every time. And you shouldn't be listening to what I'm saying all the time either. Like, you can take inspiration from what I'm telling you, and you can go and chart some levels that you want to see taken out. And if your entry was Bitcoin at $50,000, at $40,000, and we're now at 120, you're up 3x. Have you taken profit? Have you not? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for 5x? Oh, come on, man. But if your entry was here, like the people that are gonna buy gold and lighten up, Kapi was saying, lining up, and you're buying Bitcoin when we are at $130,000, well, you're in drawdown right now. So what do? Probably not a good time to buy when you're up here, is it? All-time high. Buying an all-time high is never a good time. I will never endorse even DCA at an all-time high. It just makes no sense. The word DCAing, tell me in the chat, what does DCA stands for? We all know it, hopefully. Tell me in the chat, what does DCA stands for? Dollar cost average, which means I'm dollar costing average. So if I have an entry less than optimal, right? Do I want to bring my average up, or do I want to bring my average down? Usually when I'm dollar costing average, down. Okay, so if I have an entry here, that's correct. Now let's see it. If I have an entry at $75,000, do I wait to buy again at 100 and again at 120, or do I wait to buy when I'm lower? So then my first entry with the other two becomes somewhere in the middle. Which strategy, A or B? Do I buy it whenever it goes higher, or do I buy it when it goes lower? Let's see, people typing. Hopefully you give me the right answer. Low is desirable. Correct, obviously. Obviously, right? But it's not so obvious, because I don't understand when people are buying. Oh, I'm buying a little bit. I'm buying a little bit here. Like, I'm buying here. Oh, that's a small pullback. Great. But, man, like, we're going to go lower. What are we doing? But if your entry was here, then your average is going up, because this is still higher. And if you buy a little bit more on every pullback, and your original entry was here, your dollar cost average up. Unless you have a 5-10 year plan and you're playing the long-term game, right? Like, obviously, we're not always going to get the first entry. But if you are playing a few years game, then absolutely. Buying the dips, which is what this is, right? Buying the dips is advisable. But you need to have a long-term plan. If you're going to be selling or plan to sell on the next cycle or this year, well then, no, just deploy, wait for the bear market to hit, wait for that retracement, wait for that 80%, 70% that Bitcoin does do, and then you can deploy again. So DCA is powerful if you use it right. But if you're actually buying every time, higher and higher, you just bring your dollar cost average up. It's a bit of a reality check, okay? I'm seeing people still buying Bitcoin at $110,000, $120,000. What are we doing? Are we buying for the hope that we go back into 120, and capture this move, and then you're gonna sell? Well, you gotta be ready. You gotta be A, ready, and B, it's a short-term hold. Yeah, so this was the dip. Oh, I'm buying some down here. Great. Are you planning on selling the next couple of days, in the next week? When and if we bounce back? If you are, good. As you should. But think about this. Will a 10% move, right, unless you're going with real size, will a 10% move pay you good with, an average size? Like, we go back into some of this. Is it worth the risk? Deploying more capital with the hope that it goes up a little bit? Well, unless you go with real size, 10%, it's not going to be life-changing, I think. I want a 50%, 40, 50, 60, 100% my entries. That's what I want. I like to double, usually, at least. Becoming, millionaires, trillionaires, it's a game of doubling. It's all, once you understand that, all you have to do is double your entries, double your portfolio, and rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. That's how you become wealthy. Okay, so 10% move, I'm not going to risk it. I'll happily pass. I want Bitcoin to go down 70-80%, you know, back into these areas, back into the 70s, because then the upside, going back to all-time high, it's a 2x, right? If I go back into the weekly and this kind of squiggles here, let me do it properly. So right now we are here to that weekly candle. I think we'll see lower. I think we'll see 80, 85, potentially even 75. So we'll go back down there. That's bear market territory. From there to up there, it's a 50% move. Nice. 60% move. We'll go a little bit lower. 60% move. But obviously, we need to drop that 30-40% first, right? So patience. You don't have to be in a position all the time. You just have to have your levels. You just have to have your plan and stick to it. So I'm actually excited that this potentially could be the top. I am excited because that means all I have to do is I need to wait for market to push back up. There will be an up before we go lower, and I'm going to start selling my position. And I'm going to stack capital for when we go back lower, and then I'm going to deploy with size again as we go. And I'll probably start buying again in stages. I'm not going to go all in and wait for the perfect entry. That's a mistake that I've done in previous cycles. I was waiting for the perfect entry, and somehow we just missed it, and all of a sudden you left chasing. No, once again, have a level. Usually I draw something like this. You'll probably see them in my chart. I've got a green box, and whenever price is in my green box, I buy. That's visually the easiest thing to do. But for now, I'm gonna be starting to sell. I'm gonna start selling. We've done a lot of all-time highs. We seem to be rejecting a fair bit. Could this be another move like this? Yeah, sure, it could be. But if we do take a ghost feed, which I don't know if you guys know what it is. I use them every now and then. They're pretty cool. It's basically just showing you previous price action, and I just never find them. Where are they? Ghost feed. Where's that? Come on. There. So if this was, this price action, that was the wrong one. But get the gist. No, it's not the one. Sorry, I wanted to get this one, BOS pattern. So basically what I'm doing is, if this was the pattern that we're going to do again, this move, right, and we see some sort of, let's clear that out, and we see a repeat of this price action right here, where we do top, push down, come back into it. We'll likely come back somewhere in the 90s and 80s, which is very close to that weekly, depending on how you move this, of course. But yeah, we could see something like this, and then we see another push up. But the push up is not going to be as explosive. Like, in my opinion, if we see 150 this cycle, it's going to be like a very good result. If we see, so for me to exit my portfolio around the 120, 125, 130 potentially, if we go back up, you leave a little moon back. That's a great result. I'm never gonna time the top or the bottom. You never should strive to time the top or the bottom, because unless you're absolutely lucky, no trader will be able to tell you this is the exact top. Look, I would rather start de-risking a big chunk of my portfolio here when I believe we are so close to potential top, if not at the top, then wait for a miracle for me to absolutely time the top. Is it making sense, chat? Is it making sense? I'm seeing signs of potentially top. Is it the actual top? Don't know. Does it need to be the top? No. I'm seeing signs of exhaustion in the market, and I'm happy to take profit because I'm up. I didn't enter my positions here or here, right? Like our positions, hopefully for everyone in GTG, our position, we were buying Bitcoin in the 70s. We were buying Bitcoin even last cycle if you were here with us. So you're up. And same with some altcoins. So take this profit. Wait to see, obviously, what this structure is going to do in the next few days. This is the most important few days, I think, the next 2 to 3 days that we'll see. And what I mean, if you remember earlier, I said before pressing a buy, I need to see a change of direction, making new highs, and then a confirmation of new highs. Because if we don't wait for confirmation, and that's valid for the shorts as well, you can see here, high, low, lower high, lower low. Ideally, we would want to wait for that lower high again, lower low, confirmation, enter a short. If you don't, you might be caught in what's called a fake out. And you can see this was the fake out, right? We took out that liquidity and then we continue higher. That's why you wait for those confirmations. Okay, this is why you wait. So even for a short, before I'm calling bear market, once again, last time, I want to see a lower low made. I want to see a lower high made, and then another lower low, and then I can enter a short, right? Because now I've got double confirmation, and I am confident structure's been broken, and this lower low right here was not a fake out to then go higher. Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully makes sense. Any question, chat? Bit of a macro perspective today, but I feel like it's needed at this stage of the cycle to have a look at possibilities. Let's have a look at Sol in the meantime. Sol is just beautiful. Look at that. You wrote at the top might be in. What do you think of this missing bull market big signal? I don't really go by signals, lads. Like those market, bull market peak prediction signals. What? Let me ask you a reverse question. I'll do a reverse sooner for you. Nice. What about gold? What about silver? Is there anything natural in this price action? Do you think there's signals firing off right now? RSIs and whatever you want to use for things like that. I don't know. You can use RSIs. Look at this. RSIs, even our indicator. Sell. Okay. Well, you've been drawdown this whole time. You're looking at, I don't know. You want to look at golden crosses and things like that. What is this? Like you're way up above the green line. You want to look at, I don't know, volume. Like it's just silly stuff. Sometimes you just have to go, okay, forget your signals, man. Like I've got the signals here, and there's pretty much what I use just with some of the students that want to do signals. But you don't want to play the Bitcoin game with signals. You don't want to play RSIs. You don't want to play. I was looking at this with someone the other day, where we were looking at, I think it was MAs or EMAs. I can't remember. They just wanted to look at EMAs and SMAs. Like there's nothing natural about this cycle. Nothing. So to answer your question, Lars, do I wait for the pi excuse me, for the pi signal to fire off before I sell? Do I need to wait for a signal before I make my own decision? No, I don't. I just go by structure. When I see a structure break, and once again, I see the structure break, I see the confirmation, I see the retest. Oh, great. I've got a high confidence rate. I don't need a signal. And you shouldn't need a signal either. And guess what? If you wait for the signal, you just liquidity. Because everybody sees that signal that you're seeing. You don't have a mysterious algorithm that tells you. You've got signals that every single trader and the mums, or every single trader in the YouTube courses is telling you, they all see the same signal. So don't go with signals. That's my piece of advice. Do what you want, of course, but indicators are they're good until they're not. The only indicators that I strongly recommend using is the volume, because that's the only indicator that doesn't lag. Volume tells you a story. It's always in real time, and I use it daily for my stock plays, but that's pretty much the only indicator that I use. And if you're in Forex, you know, I've got trading sessions. Trading sessions are pretty handy, so it basically tells you where the sessions are. So I'll show you. So if we do this is a Euro USD that I just took. It tells you, you know, go down on the minutes, and it's got little boxes that tell you where the previous session ends and finishes and starts. So that's pretty much the two indicators that I do use. But once you go on the hourly, it doesn't really work. So indicators, yeah, not a fan. They'll lag. Any other questions? So we're chilling there until there's confirmation, but so far it's looking bearish. That is correct, my brother. That is correct. It is indeed. 2 hours left onto this daily candle right here. We have great news that we have mitigated most of that week from the liquidation event the other day, so that's fantastic. But now we need to see what this daily candle first of all closes in the next 2 hours. Is it going to close above? Probably not. I think it's gonna, by the look of it, it's gonna close below. So that is a break of structure on the daily, and then we're gonna see on the 3 days in 1 day from now if this 3-day candle also is going to look and close below this structure, which looks like it might. If that also closes bearish, well, oh gosh, okay, it's not looking great. Let's have a look on the weekly, which closes in 2 days. So 2 hours, 1 day, and 2 days, respectively. That's when the daily, 3-day, and the weekly close. If this candle starts breaking closer, closing lower, yeah, all of a sudden we have a daily, 3 days, and a weekly confirmation that we will likely go lower. And I'll show you what I mean. If we go back here, this would have been the structure, and I'll do it with proper levels. This would have been the structure, and can you see the moment we broke lower, that was obviously confirmation that we went lower. So this was a 30%, I think, drop, 33% drop. Yep, from high to low. If you remember what I said the other day when we had the big liquidation event, I said from high to low, we're only sitting at 17% at the moment. So everyone was freaking out about the liquidation event, yes, because we lost, you know, $9 billion in market. But really, the people that got absolutely freaked out were people playing on leverage. But we didn't really even get close to that 30% drop that Bitcoin does day in, day out. Like, not day in, day out, sorry, but year after year, right? Bitcoin does those drops on a regular basis. So for me, I like to see something like this. I like to see that 85, 87, 88,000. And ideally for DCAing, for buying again, that $78,000 to $80,000. That's where I'll be buying again, okay? That's where I can buy again because I'm going to be looking at a 50-60% gain on Bitcoin. But I think we've got more downward pressure potentially in the next day, 2 days, 3 days. 2 hours, day, and 2 days. We'll have a confirmation. It's basically, if you want to reach out, I can definitely run you through. So no worries there. Thanks. All good, brother. All good, my man. And yes, that is pretty much it. Any questions, guys? Any other questions or things that you want me to look at? But at a macro perspective, the keyword of today is... What's the keyword of today? Patience. Okay, that's the keyword of today. For the next day, 2 days, we're just going to be patient. We're just going to let this daily candle close. We're going to let the 3 daily candle close, and we're gonna let the weekly candle close. 2 days. Can you tell me in the chat? Can you wait 2 days and 3 hours before making a move? And be honest. I'm not gonna judge you, but I want to know in the chat. Can you wait 2 days and 3 hours without taking a position? Be honest. This is a judge-free zone. Can you wait 2 days without taking a position? Yes or no? I want to know. I can stand on my head and stuck Grace barbecues for 2 days. Stingrays, brother. I know you can. And it's saying, yep, can wait 2 days and 3 hours before deciding what to do with it. Yeah, you've been waiting for months. Yeah, just disconnect the internet. Cool. Okay. Well, guess what? Let's go out there and enjoy this weekend. Because at the moment, we're near a all-time high. We have a very high chance of probability we go lower. So what are you going to do? If we do go lower, it's going to take time for us to catch the retest and time again to catch the other retest. So there's nothing to do at the moment. This is the time to be sitting on your hands and just go and enjoy some time with family, go outside, enjoy the grass, and just wait 2 days. That's all we're doing. Okay? With that, team, I'm going to love you and leave you. And if there's no other questions, I'm going to wish you guys and girls, of course, a great weekend. Hopefully with family, if not with friends. And if not, something that makes you happy. Go and find something that makes you happy. Bit of a mindset today, but important, I think, once we come to this stage in the cycle. Very, very close. Okay, yeah, thanks, Floppy. That's exactly what I'll do. Just gonna go and enjoy some time with family myself. All good, fam. I will catch you guys on the flip side, and have a great weekend.